You want to become a millionaire. I know that for sure, because otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video. But before becoming a millionaire, you gotta ask yourself, what is a millionaire? Well, there are 4 types of millionaires, 4 levels of millionaires, just like in video games. In this video, we're going to review the 4 levels of millionaires so you can decide which one you want to go for. And by the end of this video, you will get the bonus level of millionaires, the level 5, the super boss. Let's dive in. Before getting started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down there and activate the notification bell to never miss a new video. But before you decide which kind of millionaire you want to become, there is one thing that you gotta understand. It is called the income quadrant. As the name suggests, the income quadrant has 4 boxes. Each box will determine how you attract income into your life. The first box of the quadrant is the E quadrant. E stands for employee. It means that your income is a paycheck, a salary that you receive from somebody else that you work for as an employee. Employees can be very diverse. They can be police officers, teachers, pilots, senior executives, or whatever, as long as they work for a salary for somebody else. The overwhelming majority of the people are in the E quadrant. And remember this, it is extremely important when you're going to decide which kind of millionaire you want to become. The second box of the quadrant is the S quadrant. S stands for self-employed. Those people own a job. They work for themselves. They are typically doctors, accountants, lawyers, and so on. That's it for the first half of the quadrant, the part of the quadrant where people work for money. They trade their time for money. Then we get on the second half of the quadrant, the people who do not work for money. In the B box of the quadrant, we have the business owners. Those are people who own a business, a system that makes money for them. A business that is big enough that they don't need to work in that business. Otherwise, they are self-employed. There, we will typically see people who have businesses with 20 employees or more. And don't get me wrong, most business owners, they do work to make their business bigger and make it progress, but they don't need to if they don't want to. They can all retire and live off the passive income that the business is generating for them. And we gotta say something. Being successful in the B box is the most difficult. It is the most difficult box in the quadrant. You need all kinds of skills. You need financial skills, business skills, leadership skills, copywriting skills, marketing skills, legal skills, and so on. But it is also the most powerful box of the quadrant. If you are successful in the B box of the quadrant, the income you can make, the reward you will have is beyond imagination. Very famous people got wealthy being successful in the B part of the quadrant. People such as Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and so on. And no, after they became successful, they're not in the B quadrant anymore. We'll talk about that later. And we've got finally the 4th box of the income quadrant, the I quadrant, I for investor. And oddly enough, it is the easiest part of the quadrant, much easier than the E, S, or B quadrant. In other words, anybody can be an investor. People in the I quadrant simply purchase assets that will generate cash flow for them in the future. That can be real estate, stocks, or businesses. And no, if you buy crypto, you're not an investor. Now you know everything about the income quadrant, and that's going to be very important to understand the 4 levels of millionaires. Now it is time to talk about level 1 of millionaires, the high net worth millionaire. High net worth millionaires are people who own more than $1 million worth of assets. But all those assets do not generate any cash flow or passive income for them. And how is that possible? High net worth millionaires are typically people in the E and S box of the quadrant, employees or self-employed. And they bought a house to live in, and during the decades, the price of the house went up. Since they are the owner of the house and they paid off the mortgage, they are, on paper, millionaires. Imagine John Smith. John Smith is a surgeon, and when he was 29, after getting married, he bought a big house to raise a family. John bought the house in 1980 for $500,000. 25 years later, John is still a surgeon, he paid off the mortgage completely, and the price of the house went up to $1,200,000. In conclusion, John is a high net worth millionaire. Well, of course it is very nice to be a high net worth millionaire, but it is the level 1 of millionaires, the less powerful and desirable type of millionaires. Why? Because high net worth millionaires do not have any kind of passive income. And that happens because the assets that they have, most of the time a personal home, is not a real asset. It's not generating any kind of revenue for them. And if you are an oak wealth builder, you know very well that your personal house is not an asset. For that reason, high net worth millionaires are still scared to lose their jobs and they depend on their job, whether they are an employee or a self-employed. So you got it. High net worth millionaires are millionaires on paper only, and the only way to become real millionaires is to sell the house. But now there's a problem. First of all, where are they going to live? Number one. And second, what are they going to do with all that money? Most of the time, high net worth millionaires do not have any kind of investing skill. So they're going to use all the money they made by selling the house and they will not be millionaires anymore. That is why high net worth millionaires are on level 1 of the pyramid of millionaires. They are millionaires on paper only and they don't have any kind of passive income. Then we've got level 2 of millionaires, the high income millionaires, the type of millionaires everybody wants you to be, your parents and the school system. High income millionaires are people in the E and S quadrant, employees or self-employed, and whose paycheck or salary is above $1 million per year. And that's the key difference between a high net worth millionaire and a high income millionaire. The high net worth millionaire is millionaire in the balance sheet, and the high income millionaire is a millionaire in the income statement. Not the same thing. In other words, the high net worth millionaire owns $1 million and the high income millionaire earns $1 million. High income millionaires are typically doctors, lawyers, CEOs of big companies, famous athletes or famous artists. That's awesome, right? High income millionaires earn at least $1 million a year. But wait, in that case, why are they only level 2? High income millionaires are in level 2 only because they are in the E and S quadrant. They are employees or self-employed. They are still trading time for money. And the problem with employees, self-employed and high income millionaires is that the day they cannot work anymore for a reason or another, the income dries up. It disappears. They don't have any income anymore. That's why high income millionaires are in constant stress of losing their job. If they lose their job, they lose their income and they're not millionaires anymore. And another problem with high income millionaires is that they seldom invest their money. Most of the time, they spend all of their money to lead and sustain a very extravagant lifestyle. With fast cars, huge mansions, very nice vacation, and other little things that high income millionaires tend to do. And sometimes they spend much more than what they earn and they have no financial education at all. As a consequence, most high-income millionaires, when they cannot work anymore, when they lose their income, they go completely broke. And it is very telling when we look at former athletes who earn millions and millions of dollars, and then when they retire, they go completely broke in a couple of years. That's because they still have a poor mindset. They focus completely on the income statement and don't focus at all on acquiring assets. They don't focus at all on owning real assets. And there are quite a few statistics to prove that. When we look at former NBA players or former top athletes, the majority of them, more than 50 of them, are completely broke a few years after retirement. To be precise, about 60% of former NBA players and 78% of former NFL players are broke or under major financial pressure after 2 years of retirement. That happens because when they were earning millions, they spent it. All of it. That's why high-income millionaires are only in level 2. And I think you got it. If you really want to go to level 3 or 4 or to the bonus level, you need to transition in the income quadrant. You need to go to the B or I box. Now comes the level 3 of millionaires, the inherited millionaire. The inherited millionaire, as the name suggests, were simply lucky enough to be born in the right family with at least $1 million in wealth. They are also called the Lucky Sperm Club. And yes, it's very unfair. They became millionaire without doing any kind of effort. But hey, life is unfair. And the good thing about being an inherited millionaire is that the wealth that you receive is real wealth, not like the 2 previous levels. Because if you're a high-income millionaire, well, you spent all the money and you have nothing to give to your children. And if you're a high net worth millionaire, well, you sold the house and then you need the money for your retirement. Again, nothing left for the children. That's why being an inherited millionaire is on level 3, because you didn't have to do anything to get that wealth, and the wealth you get is real wealth. But don't worry, there are still some drawbacks. Well, drawback number 1, very obviously, you cannot do anything to become an inherited millionaire. It's pure luck. And there is a second problem. There is an old saying in my hometown. It is said that the first generation builds a business, the second generation builds an empire, and the third generation pisses it away. Most of the time, the inherited millionaires fail to acquire the financial skills and the business skills that their father or grandfather had. Because, let's be honest, they never had a real incentive to acquire those skills since they were born millionaires. As a result, very often, just like high-income millionaires, they spend all the money to sustain a very extravagant lifestyle and they go broke sooner or later. A very telling example is the Getty family. The first generation of the Getty family built a huge empire. The second generation didn't do much, and the third generation completely destroyed the business. That is why Getty Oil does not exist anymore. As a conclusion, being an inherited millionaire can be a curse more than a blessing, hence why it is not higher in the pyramid. And besides, when you look at the list of the richest people on the planet, well, very few of them inherited anything. Now things are getting serious. We are on level 4, the first boss, passive income millionaires. The name is pretty clear. Those people make more than $1 million a year in passive income without the need to work. And what's different about the 3 other levels is that passive income millionaires are in the B and I quadrant. They are either business owners or investors. There are basically 2 ways to become a passive income millionaire. The first way is to build a business. But as I said at the beginning of the video, it is also the hardest way. Being successful in the B box of the income quadrant is very challenging and very difficult. But hopefully, the second way to become a passive income millionaire is much easier, and it is actually accessible to everybody. It is being an investor. Those who become passive income millionaires by being investors typically start in the E and S quadrant as employees or self-employed. They use a part of their paycheck or their salary to invest in real assets such as real estate to rent, stocks, or businesses. And step by step, they accumulate more and more assets that generate passive income for them until one day they are passive income millionaires. And what is really cool about being a passive income millionaire is that it doesn't matter anymore whether you work or not. The risk of going broke by being a passive income millionaire is very slow, or at least much slower than the 3 other levels. And the best thing of all about being a passive income millionaire is that everybody can be a passive income millionaire. That includes you. Yes, you. And the first step to become a passive income millionaire is to subscribe to Oak Wealth Builder. Just an advice. Let me tell you a story. It is a story of a family of 3 kids. All 3 kids, when they reach adulthood, they went to the best schools in the United States, to Harvard, Yale, Columbia, etc. None of them received a scholarship. The tuition costs, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, was paid entirely by their father. And what did the father do for a living? Was he a CEO, a surgeon, a very famous lawyer? None of that. Their father was a bus driver. Yes, real story. But what made this bus driver very special is that he was also an investor. He was in the E box of the quadrant and in the I box of the quadrant at the same time. During his free time, this bus driver studied the stock market and how to invest in real estate. And he was dedicating 10% of his salary every single month to invest it. And when the kids were old enough to go to college, he had accumulated so much wealth, so many assets, so much passive income that he could afford sending them to the best colleges of the country. This bus driver became a passive income millionaire. That story goes to show that anybody can become a passive income millionaire if they put up the effort and have the discipline to do it. And another thing about passive income millionaires is that here we come, the super boss. The super boss of millionaires is the millionaire entrepreneur. Remember the income quadrant? Well, the millionaire entrepreneur combines two of them. He combines the B, business owner, and E, investor part of the quadrant. First, they build a business, a system that makes money for them passively. Then they take all that money, that huge amount of money, and they invest it in real assets. That is why millionaire entrepreneurs are billionaire entrepreneurs. But no, seriously, that is the tale of the richest people in our planet. When you look at Elon Musk, for example. Elon Musk first became a passive income millionaire in the B box of the income quadrant. He built PayPal, his first successful business. And with all the money he had made with PayPal, he invested into Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, etc. See, he combined the B part of the quadrant with the I part of the quadrant, investing. And that is how Elon Musk became, well, Elon Musk. That's it for the 5 levels of millionaires. Pick the one you like the most. Which one do you like the most? Let me know in the comment section. I hope you liked this video. If that is the case, a little thumbs up is always appreciated, and you should definitely check out this video because I think you will like it. And I will see you soon.